The Nazi concentration camps were not only places of destruction, but also laboratories of horror. Terrifying experiments were conducted there that violated human dignity and left permanent scars on history. In this video, we discuss Josef Mengele, the camp doctor, and his twin studies, where, as the name suggests, twins, often children, were subjected to horrifying experiments. Welcome aboard. Josef Mengele's twin studies were part of the inhumane human experiments carried out in the Auschwitz concentration camp by Nazi Germany. Josef Mengele was particularly interested in twins because he believed they held the key to understanding the influences of heredity and environment. However, his experiments were pseudoscientific, cruel, and utterly unethical. Mengele wanted to study the genetic similarities and differences of twins, as well as the mechanisms of heredity. He aimed to prove that the Aryan race was biologically superior, for example, to the Jewish people. Mengele also hoped that twin studies could promote German reproduction. Upon arrival at Auschwitz, prisoners passed through a selection led by Mengele. Twins were of particular interest and were separated from the other prisoners. Twins, many of whom were children, were placed in a special barracks and were treated slightly better than the other prisoners. This, however, was not an act of goodwill, but a means to keep them alive for experiments. Mengele's experiments were extremely cruel and often fatal. The twins' body measurements were carefully recorded, and their physical features were compared in detail, such as eye color, skull size, and body proportions. Mengele attempted to alter eye color by injecting pigments directly into children's eyes, which caused pain, infections, and often blindness. One twin might be exposed to diseases such as tuberculosis or typhus, while the other's condition was observed as a comparison. Often the sick twin was killed so that Mengele could study their organs. If you thought these horrors ended there, you are mistaken. Twins were subjected to painful surgeries without anesthesia. These included amputations and organ removal. Sometimes Mengele tried to sew twins together to create artificial conjoined twins, which often led to infections and death. It is estimated that Mengele experimented on about 1,500 twins, of whom only a few hundred survived. Most died as a result of the experiments or were killed during autopsies. Mengele's studies led to no scientifically significant results. His work was primarily part of Nazi propaganda, where science was used to justify racial theories and atrocities. Survivors of Josef Mengele's twin studies have shared heartbreaking stories of their experiences in Auschwitz. Through these accounts, valuable information has been gained about the cruelty of Mengele's experiments and their long-term effects. Many survivors have borne both physical and mental scars that have followed them their entire lives. Eva Moses Kor and her twin sister Miriam were 10 years old when they were chosen for Mengele's twin studies at Auschwitz. Eva has shared how she was subjected to repeated injections with unknown substances. She became gravely ill after the injections and came close to death. Mengele also announced that if Eva died, Miriam would also be killed for comparative autopsies. Josef Mengele's inhumane experiments not only highlighted the misuse of science, but also led to significant ethical and moral changes in science and medicine. They strengthened ethical rules such as the Nuremberg Code, which requires the voluntary and informed consent of research participants. Remembering Mengele's actions serves as a warning of what happens when science is divorced from morality. Josef Mengele managed to avoid the consequences of his horrific crimes at Auschwitz. His post-war life is largely a story of evading justice and its failure. At the end of the war, Mengele fled from Austria to Germany, where he hid in the northern part of the country for some time. He managed to avoid capture partly because his name was not immediately on the Allies' wanted list. Eventually, he ended up in South America, where he lived until his death, protected by wealthy friends. In 1979, Mengele died of a stroke on a beach in Brazil. His death was confirmed only through DNA testing in 1985, when remains were exhumed from his grave. Mengele's natural death caused widespread outrage, as he never faced justice for his crimes. His escape heightened the pressure to improve international cooperation in bringing war criminals to justice. Thank you for watching this video about a horrifying but fascinating story. Share your thoughts on the topic in the comments and let us know what you'd like to hear about next.